Good evening. My name is Brad Kowit with Kowit Company Real Estate. I'm here on behalf of a group of partners in real estate, developers. Greg Levy, who's in the audience here tonight, to talk about the proposed redevelopment of University Square. To give a little background, actually both Greg and I are East Siders. We grew up here. Spent a lot of time at May Company on the Heights, Mr. Junior, Cedar Center. This was our backyard, so we're familiar with the area. We've watched it for the last 50 or so years, and we're excited about the next phase of this project and the development. We're local. What we've done over the past 20 years or so is find underutilized properties, residential, office, retail, and with our experience in the real estate development world, we come in, purchase a property, look for the right use, redevelop it, and we hold it. We're owners who, this isn't a buy and flip, it's a buy, redevelop, and hold, hoping for our kids. We started working on this project, it's about a year now, and when we first were presented with the opportunity, just finishing up the project in Lakewood, where we converted another underutilized building into 200 apartments, we saw the need for residential development, market rate, upscale residential development. The building that you see here in the front is the existing, what we call the Cedar Road Retail. It's a 3-story empty building, as you know. Our plan is to take the building from 3 stories and turn it into 6 by inserting floors inside the building. We're not going to add any height to it. We're going to take the existing shell of the building off, create, you can see there's courtyards that we've created by demolishing certain parts of the building. That'll have outdoor cooking, could be volleyball courts, could be bocce. We're uncertain at this point whether there'll be a pool, but it'll be a gathering place for the residents to enjoy the outside. Here's a little better view. We've brought it onto Cedar Road. We want to bring the street into the project, walkability. We've got obviously development with Cedar Center on both sides of the street, and we want to make it inviting so that the residents can, exit, walk on Cedar, do their shopping, and enjoy all the local amenities. Let's see. Here's a little bird's eye view of the existing building. This is phase 1. In our purchase, we're purchasing the Cedar Road Retail, as well as the old Tops building, the Key Bank, and the little strip center on Warrensville. This is phase 1. We plan on starting and completing phase 1 and moving on to phase 2. As we get down the road, as we've done with other developments, we like to get into development, see what it's about, see what the people that we draw to this development, and whether phase 2 becomes an amenity to that. It could be additional apartments, it could be senior housing, it could be retail, but it'll all fit into the development that we have planned. One of the things that we are going to do is take the garage. Right now you've got about 35 feet between the garage and the back of the building, and it's a dark alleyway. One of our first really ideas was to open that up, and what it does is it opens it up for Target, opens it up for Macy's. We create about 100 feet of outdoor area and space and light, and that's accomplished just by taking off one bay of the garage. This is a view looking at, it's the entrance to the building, but it's currently in the back of the building, and you can see that we've created this wide grass area, benches, very pedestrian friendly, so people that live in the apartments would park, come down and walk into the building. This gives you a view of the main entrance into the project. The project will give or take a few units, about 203 units as currently designed on 6 floors. Mostly 1 bedrooms. We have 2 bedrooms and a few 3 bedrooms. We hired a company called Kinley Horn out of Carolinas that did a whole market study for us. And they've done several market studies for other residential developments up in Northeast Ohio. So they're very familiar with the area and the market. And we've followed the recommendation on the last conversion that we did, and we expect to follow the recommendation here. As I said, they're market rate apartments. The range is $1,400 to about $1,900 a month. We think it's going to be an alternative to Beechwood and University Circle, being that it's sort of in the middle. Amenities will be typical workout room, fitness room, conference room, business center, outdoor areas. Outdoor areas are real big now. Dog park. We want to make this a dog-friendly complex. This gives you an idea of what it looks like looking down at Macy's, which currently, you're in an alley. This opens it up. Both Target and Macy's have both seen these drawings. We've had discussions with them. They're all in favor of this. It's going to do nothing but help their business. This gives you just sort of a bird's eye overview of what the building will look like. These are the areas that we will actually demo and cut out to create the outside areas. And then it also creates a lot of units that will look into the various outside amenities. This is just a typical floor plan that we've laid out to give you an idea of how many units per floor. One of the things that, as we were planning and drawing this early on, that was the need for what we call live-works, or smaller retail, local retailers. And if you notice on the first floor here, these are all storefronts. These are designed for a local artist, an attorney, insurance agent, who can have their business on the first floor and actually live upstairs if they so choose. So we're bringing a lot of local, smaller tenants the ability to get into University Heights, be part of the development, and again offer the living space for them. So these are just typical floor plans, as I said, 6 stories, 1s, 2s, and a couple of 3s on the corners. When you get up into the 4th, 5th, and 6th floor, this is the bridge right now over to Applebee's. Our thought initially was maybe to demo it, but we decided that it's sort of neat, standing in this unit here, you can see downtown. So this will be several stories of additional residential above the Applebee's. We're currently in our due diligence period. We were grateful that the school board was voted in favor of restructuring the TIF last week. There's a lot of hard work that's been put into this over the past 10, 11 months. As the mayor said, we've got work yet with Target Macy's. They're committed. We've had several discussions with them. Our goal is to finish up our due diligence, finish up the development agreement this year, this summer, break ground, start building. We're probably a 14-month process from start to finish. We plan on using our same leasing team that we've used elsewhere, and then move on to phase 2. And we're excited about the project. As I said, we're local, we're here, we know the market, we know the area, and we look forward for your support on the redevelopment.
Thank you, Mr. Kowit.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Kowit up here?
I have 2.
Well, this is for the...
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake.
Mr. Kowit, do you mind taking questions
No,
from the audience?
not at all.
Okay.
Any balconies?
No.
And on the southeast view, is that, you go back a few to your southeast view, is that phase one or phase two?
This is all phase one. So phase,
Let's go back to southeast and show me where's phase two gonna be?
it's not on, phase two is the tops. There's no, in this presentation, if you look just past, right over here, just past Macy's, where the tops building is, that's phase two.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hunt. Oh, Mrs. Cameron.
Yes, sir. Can you tell me, what do you feel may be the biggest obstacle that you are going to face?
Well, I think in any kind of redevelopment, the biggest obstacle is construction. What are you gonna find? We've hired local architects, engineers. We're gonna use the same construction team that we used in Lakewood. That's really, once you get past your due diligence, making sure that the building is what it is and restructuring the deal with Macy's and Target, we have a pretty good handle on the garage, we've got a pretty good handle on construction.
Right.
But the biggest obstacle is always construction. What do you find as you get into this?
Very good. Thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Kowit?
Did you say you were going to start late spring, summer?
I'm guessing about summer. You know, we've got maybe 3 months, 4 months to get us to where we're ready to go.
Yeah.
A lot of it, we've done a lot of groundwork, but once we get into, architectural, building permits, that sort of thing, that'll dictate, how the process goes. But generally, after we go through our due diligence, we negotiate with Target and Macy's, because those agreements are antiquated. Then we start drawing, then we go into building approvals, architectural review. And once we have our permits in hand, then we'll close and start.
Mayor, this might be an opportune time for me to walk through a few of the mechanics of the ordinance prior to its being read.
Sure.
Council, we passed out a version of the ordinance that's slightly different from what was previously provided to you, and I just want to walk through a few of the mechanics here. First of all, what the ordinance is doing primarily is it's removing the redevelopment parcel and the outlaw parcel from the existing TIF and implementing a new TIF that will provide tax exemption on those parcels in the amount of 100% of the increase in assessed value. The removal of the parcels from the existing TIF will be contingent on a development agreement being entered into between the city, the Port Authority, and the developer. And the compensation agreement that we are hoping to enter into with the school board calls for that development agreement to be finalized, I think, by January 20th of 2020, so coming up in the next month or so. The owner of the project will make payments in lieu of taxes for purposes of paying the parties under the compensation agreement and to service the debt. And that, in a nutshell, is what's being accomplished in this ordinance. The change in the ordinance is in Section 3. We added a paragraph that simply indicates that the parcels will not be removed from the existing TIF if we can't come to a development agreement. That's really just a safeguard and shouldn't alarm anyone.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. McCollum. And we will be hearing this on first reading this evening.
Correct.
Because I know that there are things that we need to iron out between the teams here to make sure that everything is as it should be.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Collins. All right, so with that, let us move to item B on the agenda, which is the ordinance regarding University Square replacement TIF. Ordinance 2019-78, amending ordinance number 2001-28. declaring improvements to certain real property located in the city of University Heights to be a public purpose in connection with the establishment of tax increment financing under Ohio Revised Code Section 5709.41, declaring such improvements to be exempt from real property taxation, requiring the owners thereof to make service payments in lieu of taxes, authorizing the execution of a tax increment financing agreement with the developer, authorizing the execution of a compensation agreement with the Cleveland Heights University Heights City School District, establishing an urban redevelopment tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of such service payments, and declaring an emergency. This is on first reading. Mr. McConville's gone over the mechanics during the presentation. Mr. Kowit already of what is in the ordinance, subject to some refinement over the next couple of weeks, and certainly before January 20th. Mr. McConville, is there anything you wanted to add?
Not at this time.
Okay. Is there any discussion before we declare this our first reading? I know we have a long agenda tonight, so we need not to belabor it. This has been read then for the first time, and we will see it on an agenda in January. Very good. We're now